Does anyone have anything else to add?
Oh, we basically texted Reg to be like, hey, we found this amazing thing. You need to be around. And Reg was like, okay, cool. Hey, where is everybody? What's going on? And Bones just sent a message back that said basically, we're fighting now.
Hell yeah. That sounds about right. That sounds about accurate and appropriate.
O'Donnell is like withering in Biff's arms. Biff is doing his best to hold the old guy up and keep him steady.
All right. I think that covers the broad strokes and some of the thinner details. You guys had entered the Stone Sentinel, the Sleeping Giant, as it was called, and discovered ancient magic, ancient technology, strange pedestals, and mummified remains of what Biff recognized as some form of monk. Adanu had referred to them as faith keepers. And as withers began to destroy and create explosions within the Stone Sentinel, the Sleeping Giant, the faith keepers began to stir. As Adanu used what magic he had to open a portal somewhere else, somewhere safe, anywhere else safe, one by one you fled, taking what you could, taking Adanu, taking your friend, Fiendkeeper Bolga, to the other side to safety. Roar, last to leave Stone Sentinel, you gave your companion, Leif, one final act to finish the job. The mummified faith keepers stirring and crawling and moving, likely the last thing you saw before you escaped into the column of light. You all arrived safely elsewhere on the island, a place you immediately recognize as the Sentinel's head. Close enough to Nyanzaru that you could stake off into the night. Exhaust yourselves, but get to town by morning. Your current predicament finds you with Adanu currently holding on to Biff. The elf's form is indeed withering. Bits and pieces of his form, his skin, appear to be flaking off like tiny shards, just barely holding it together, just barely cohesive. Little movements, little breezes seem to push parts of him away that drift back into place. Biff, as you hold on to Adanu, the Master of Abjuration, you feel a strange sensation. You feel your lips drying. You feel your skin tingling in a bad way, as though touching something caustic. Give me a quick Constitution saving throw.
That will be a 4.
4. As you hold on, stoic, and this is your ward, you're holding on to them for better or for, you feel your life being drawn. You lose one of your remaining key points.
All right.
It is around this time that, with a flutter and a brief flash of light, the sound of thumping and tumbling catches the attention of those of you who just arrived on this side of the Sentinel's head. The B-Team. How's your day been?
We thought so many things.
Mostly crabs.
Mostly crabs. Crabs and Fae, basically. Met a new friend named Gallium. Picking up kind of where last game left off. Met a new friend named Gallium. Went and finished things up with the plantation. Borrowed a cart and some dinosaurs to pull said cart. We were heading kind of back to the city when we noticed lights and movement coming from the damn Zilris' Landing fucking again. So we were like, alright, we gotta go deal with that shit. So we went to go deal with that shit and met some fae. Some nice fae. Alina made friends without a thought to the consequences of that. May have promised that they could talk to Reg. Who cares? Reg is not busy. He's just a wizard. And, when we were talking with them and making friends with them, saw some lights. Weird lights in the sky, and Alina went, oh no, not this again. Admitted to Gallium that she's kind of got some anxiety about every time she leaves Neonzer or something fucking terrible happens. You know, because last time she left, fucking a dragon appeared. And Gallium and their new friends decided to help them by teleporting them across the island to go investigate what the lights were. Gallium bravely offering to stay with the cart and make his way back to Port Nyanzaru. He will definitely find it, to be sure.
It's hard to miss.
Nothing bad's gonna happen there.
No, it's fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. Just a man made of metal and a couple of fae folk riding into town on some ankylosauruses. Only in Tikal, folks. Does anyone have anything else to add to that description, to that recap?
Did Owlman come with us?
He is with you. As you guys tumble to your feet, old Hornwall is catching his breath, panting and stumbling. If birds could sweat, this is a sweaty bird. He's like molting, his feathers are falling out. His glasses are off kilter.
Oh dear. Help him, please. And I'm instructing my skelly friends to kind of help him up, dust him off.
With your friends bracing him, this small creature, hefty but small, leans against them fully, not seeming to care that they are skeletons, just catching his breath.
Oh, it was tumultuous. Oh, that was downright deadly. What is this place? Oh.
Yeah, the call has some things going on.
I should say, indeed. Oh.
There are ruckuses on both sides as you guys notice each other. Both groups immediately take notice. Alina, I think you called out to the others at one point.
I called out to Biff. Demon Puncher, what are you doing?
Biff winces and looks up. Holding the old elf. What are you doing out here?
There were strange lights in the sky, so we decided to come. For some reason, I can't move my token. That's the thing that's happening now?
Game's paused.
Game is paused.
Game is unpaused. Feel free to move about.
I'm gonna make my way this way. Vol,
You trudge on over.
you all look fucked up. What the hell is going on here?
Where were you? How did you get so fast?
So, we met some friends. One of our friends teleported us here because we saw strange lights in the sky heading towards this place. So, I decided to make a quick... Last time I left, Zilris attacked, so...
Karn is meanwhile trying to apologize to Bones for catching her in the area of his attack.
It's okay, Karn, I'm fine. I just probably should tell Reg to get... What are we doing with Adanu?
Biff, kind of holds up Adanu, oh my god, to Aaliyah. This being here, Adanu, it's a very long story where he comes from, but he seems to be fading away in the material world. Is there a way that you know that we could tether him here?
Right.
Biff is ready to give up a little key, a little life force to help keep this one here, but does not know exactly the method. Perhaps it is something you know.
Yeah, yet. Vanya?
It's also,
Yes?
we could ask him.
Or you're asking... Yeah, Adanu, what do you need to stabilize you? Vanya, we got I don't know. He looks like it's in your looks like he's in our wheelhouse, but they seem to want to save him. So maybe your wheelhouse.
All right, let me take a look. Oop. I still have the skeleton selected.
As you guys kind of gather around Adanu, Roar, you reach out and you ask, how do we stabilize you? Adanu appears to be reeling. He's kind of holding on to Biff and looks as though he's trying to get his feet under him as he staggers.
Too much magic, too much exertion. Something interferes with me. We're a biosentinel. If it is active, I could perhaps get inside. If the Faith Keepers are still within, I can draw from them or draw from something.
Those who are around, just give me a quick insight check.
Yeah.
Where did you find a lich?
Is that the Lich?
Biff and Roar at the same time. All right, insight.
Yeah.
Alternatively, how many channel positivities do I have to spend to help stabilize this guy?
Oh boy. Oof, you guys have a couple of options, don't you?
Roar was just about to dump a second level spell into him, seeing how he responded to getting powered up when trying to open up the gateway. So,
All right. So, from, let's see, insight check, we got Bones with a 15, we've got Alina with a 15, Leah with a 15.
I've
I
got
say
an
Lee
8.
twice?
I'm still alarmed that they have a lich.
You're
Bones,
still
I
on there.
accidentally rolled twice for Bones, but Alina got a 13 and Bones got a 15.
Okay, so Bones with a 15 and Leah with a 15.
Birdie got an 11.
11. Okay, so those of you who got a 15, so Leah and Bones, you two immediately recognize that he is not in his right head. He is confused. He's trying to make sense of something. He has overexerted himself and is, just as you were kind of panicking to figure out what to do, he is trying to sift through thoughts that aren't congealing. Biff, with a nat 1, you have never seen a man so certain. Just give him some space, give him some time, he'll figure it out. Roar, you mentioned that you're about to reach out and dump magic into him. Do you do this?
yeah, I'm gonna reach out and say, since this seemed to help earlier, and I'm just going to dump my my remaining second level spell slot into him to see if that helps.
Okay, do you have any hit die remaining?
All of them, yeah.
Okay. As you reach out and you place your giant kind of misshapen hand on him and channel the magic that makes you you, you feel that you are not only pushing forward, but something is being pulled from you. The magic leeches from your hands. Your eyes momentarily flare up, and something in your chest feels wrong. As 2 of your hit die are wrenched from you, from your heartstone. Adanu lets out a his eyes open wide and they glow, and you see as bits and pieces of him start to slowly mesh back into his face, growing solid, growing firm for but a moment. Somewhat wide-eyed, he looks to you and recognizes,
Yes, Arcana. The power of the weave. That can sustain me. It's something about the air, the magic here. Disrupted.
and far in the distance, panting and still propped up against skeletons.
Oh, it's anchored. The weave is anchored here.
Danu
Bones.
glances toward the owl creature in the distance, and Bones, go ahead.
Yes, we hypothesized with Reginald that there was an etheric anchor. I'm using the wrong accent.
It's cool.
gonna
Don't worry
happen all
about it.
day.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna be a lot of
It's
that.
gonna.
We
There's gonna be a lot of that.
I hypothesized with Reg there might be an etheric anchor, some sort of necromantic energy because of a Sararak in his machine.
Donhu slowly nods toward you, some recollection touching his milky eyes.
Right. I shall have to find a different methodology.
He pushes away from you, Biff, and you feel that draw, that suction, ebb away. It's almost like an opposing magnet, where you feel something from you kind of pulled, but not wrenched free, just while he's in proximity of you. Roar, you still feel that draw, but it is not harming you actively. Danu looks himself over and kind of pats himself down. And let's see.
I can certainly undig your, well, unbury, I should say, the Sentinel. It'll take me time, but I do have some power I can give to you in the meantime to stabilize you more, if that's what we need.
He nods slightly toward you.
I'm afraid you do not have the necessary robustness to maintain me. For a few minutes, yes, this will do. Enough to think, enough to plan. My kind, we are similar to what you would call a lich.
He looks toward you, Vanya.
Similar enough that that's perhaps such designations the lines blurred. The power of the soul, yes, can.
Sorry, just blanked on a word.
The power of the soul could sustain me, but that is not a path that I would ever choose. We subsist off of ambient magic, off of the power of the weave. But as you say, something keeps it bound, close to the ground, below. An anchor. We have heard of such things. Mythos, eldritch engines of sorts do these things. Within the Sentinel,
he glances toward and moves his arm out toward the head.
While upon the throne, I could draw the power of the jungles and the power of plant life. It would, of course, cause the greenery to wither, but it is a small price to pay. When the alternative is a soul.
What did he say would wither?
The greenery.
Karn kind of moans slowly.
How much greenery? Are we looking at causing another desert, or?
He looks himself over and he furrows his brow.
I cannot say. That would be to restore what I have lost. Within the Sentinel, if the Faith Keepers still reside within, if they continue their vigil, they could share with me their spirit energy, their key.
He looks back toward the Sentinel.
I do not know their fate. I do not know what resides within.
Vanya's kind of biting her lip as she watches him.
If the etheric array within, if it is intact, I would be stable within there. Either within the heart of the Sentinel, or if perhaps I had access to a demiplane, to someplace that is not here, someplace where the aether flows more freely.
I know of a demiplane. Bones just raises her hand. Reg has one in our house.
Our house?
That would mean we travel there. Does the friends have more teleportation? We are a large group.
There will be no more teleportation. Ooh, it nearly killed me. Ooh.
Is that an owl?
Yes, that is an owl.
He's an owl friend.
And those are
Oh.
skeletons.
Hornwall, this is another adventuring group that we are friends with. Friends, this is Hornwall, who is also a friend.
Is that an owl? Or
Also, who is that? You got the Frogman, we got the Owlman.
That is Bulgup. Fiend Keeper Bulgup. There will be no questions.
The Fiend Keeper Bulgup looks from Hornwall to Alina, lifts up a webbed finger and kind of wiggles them in your direction.
I'm going to have a bunch of questions when there's, like, Fiend in the name. Demon Puncher.
I too have many questions.
Alright, Verdi's been here before. About how far off are they from the city?
From the city, it would take you, just judging by the stars in the sky, judging by, where the moon is, you estimate it would take you by light break tomorrow morning, this morning. If you travel now and you hustle, you could get to town. Some of you are injured. All of you have been moving and traveling all day. Verdi, it doesn't take you long to suss out the others and realize, yeah, you can push and make it there by morning, but you will all be exhausted when you get back.
Alright, I'm gonna relay that information so everybody knows if we do hustle, we can get there, but it might be best to camp, but that's up to anybody else. Verdi's no stranger to having to move throughout the night.
Okay. So you tell the group that...
The portable hole, right?
Vanya is startled to hear Verdi's voice.
What did you say, Alicia?
We got the portable hole, right?
You have a portable hole.
Isn't
Is
that
that
a
not a
demi-plane?
Yes.
As we're talking about hoofing it double time to town, like, we've got a demi-plane with us.
Yeah. Yes, but within the hole, he seemed to have deteriorated just as fast as leaving. And I look at Danu. Was that just nature of what was going on at the time? Or can you not go into the hole?
He looks in your direction, and you see this dawning recollection in his eyes. I see, that is what happened. I remember falling into a darkened room with desks and items of all kinds. Hit the ground rather quite hard, actually. No, my current state has much to do with... Something was wrong with the teleportation. It should not have been so hard.
Oh, you teleported us. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, teleportation's kind of not working at the moment, Bone says, kind of scratching the back of her head. It's...
Not working.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Reg has been studying it. Like, long distance messaging and teleportation seem to be kind of on the fritz at the moment.
Yes, it's why Biff is wondering how other team got here with teleportation.
Through great personal hardship. Ooh. Ooh.
Alina points at Hornwall.
He's still losing feathers.
Alright, okay. And she's just gonna go over to him, and she's gonna give him, 10 points. Lay on hands.
Alright, as Vanya, you kind of cut in and try to get a word in with Adanu. You lean
Just
over. And
quietly, she doesn't want to interrupt the back and forth, but a thought has occurred to her, and she doesn't know if it would work, but she's seeing how important, how everyone's worried about Adanu's condition.
So you lean in and you ask that question at around that time that Leah, you're starting to wonder how if opening the channel to the positive plane, to Physic, if that would help this person. I'm gonna assume that you kind of both get in close and start asking questions.
Thing is, if we're going to be hovering and going back and forth, do I have 10 minutes to pop off Prayer of Healing?
Yeah, if you want to pop off a prayer of healing and do that, you absolutely can.
Okay, I'm just asking because it casts at like semi like a ritual. It's got a 10-minute casting time.
10-minute casting time. All right, yeah. You've had time to look people over and see that you see Alina's hurt. You see Bones is badly hurt. You see that Roar is starting to like really look rough. Parts of his his arcano-mechanical extremities, part of his alchemical fluids, part of his darkwood fibers are frayed, and he looks about as rough as you've ever seen him. Verdi, likewise, is also fairly roughed up. Karn is a little dented in places.
That's nothing new.
That's nothing new. So, Leah, you go about and you begin to cast your spell, and you can go ahead and cast that spell now. We'll say 10 minutes has gone by. As Vanya, you lean over and you ask if Adanu would be amenable to trying something. He looks you over and studies you, and he looks confused.
I'm sorry. I've just met. What is on your mind, child?
Forgive me, there's much about the art necromancy I'm not familiar with. Perhaps you might know before we try anything, but you are not strictly speaking alive, yes?
Strictly speaking.
You are more or less a magically animated corpse, yes?
His jaw goes tense and his lips go tight.
I hold up my hands. I mean, no offense. I'm speaking in strictly magical terms.
And you see, as he watches you, his brows don't furrow. They arch as you hit a nerve. And for a moment, the elf looks rather quiet, forlorn, perhaps crestfallen. Give me one moment.
How rude.
Vanya feels a little bad.
Roar is going in the silence and like the just response that Adanu is giving. Roar's going to pipe in.
He's not normal. He's tied to positive plane, not actual necromantic energies. I don't know if what you're trying will work.
That makes two of us.
That makes three of us. Yes, technically speaking, I am an animated corpse, as you say.
I apologize. I mean no offense, but could you lay down, please?
I beg your pardon. If you intend to drive a stake through me, I will...
No. I'm trying to save your life. Unlife.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Can I, guess what Vanya's trying to do?
It is a spell that involves someone laying down. You can roll an Arcana check off the cuff.
Does it involve 2 coins?
Vanya, you're reaching for some coins?
Yeah, she's reaching for her coin purse.
Yeah, it involves 2 coins. You know what the spell is.
I think she's suggesting gentle repose.
And as Adanu begins to get down and kind of sit and presses a palm to the ground behind him, and begins to lay, while you guys are having this conversation, Vanya, you are very disarming, and though he may not trust you, the mention of necromancy seems to have moved him to some extent, and he still looks sad, forlorn.
Necromancy was not my purview. I once knew a master of the craft. I knew little of it, and if you know of the art, I'm willing to try. What this is if it means to save me.
I'd be able to roll an Arcana check to see if gentle repose would help with the overdrawnness of his self.
He's overdrawn like a bank. Yeah, you can.
Been overdrawn.
You can roll an Arcana check to suss out if this idea has credence. The 19, you know it prevents decay. It prevents the further decay of a corpse, a body. Magic is magic. If the magic states that it is a corpse that is preserved, then there's no reason it shouldn't work. You don't know if there would be a form of interference. This is the first time you've seen an undead creature that is channeling positive energy, that is not the dark, necromantic, caustic.
I will ponder
sustenance.
this out loud, hopefully loud enough that Adanu can, like, weigh in.
And what are you pondering exactly? Just the how the spell works and
What Gentle Repose does and how it, like, the basics of the spell.
all right. He kind of nods you in
Will chime
direction.
in as well to assist with not just to assist with the explanation.
If it is his physical form that is wearing away, then it's possible that stopping the decay, even for a little bit, might grant us more time to work out a more permanent solution. Maybe?
As
I
it-
don't quite know how this works.
As he lays there, you do see that a lot of the shifting and breaking, flaking of his form has it has subsided since Roar has pumped him with that little bit of magic and those hit die. Right now, he is in a state that if you were to preserve him, he looks passably elven. He's very pallid. He's very dry, but he doesn't look as bad as he was before. If you were to stop the degradation here, that might be a benefit. If you can. Adanu, with his hands on his chest, kind of looking very corpsey, nods in Leah's direction, nods in Vanya's direction.
Very well, Witch. You may try your magic.
I pause for a second and consider that.
Well, if this is going to work, let's make sure you are at the best place possible. And I'm going to dump one of my first level spell slots that I still have left into him.
Okay. As you dump a first level spell slot, you reach over, you grab his hand, and you, with a flash of vibrant, crackling energy, you channel your magic. You feel a draw from your Heartstone as you lose one hit die. And you are feeling like fairly ill right now. For a Warforged, you are recognizing that some of your systems, you've become acutely aware that some of your systems are beginning to fail. You can carry on, you can trudge along, but you know how low your HP is right now. We'll put it there.
All right. Can I see
As the
my
magic,
Oh, go ahead.
as you pour this magic into Adana, you see that more and more of those little bits and pieces, those flecks of flesh, are popping back into place, sealing cracks. His cheeks begin to fill slightly. His eyes, milky and cloudy, turn a more vibrant white. His hair, which was gray and kind of hay-like, is more silvery and silken. His nose fills in, no longer a hollow husk, and his pulled back lips start to cover his teeth a little more. He looks like an ancient elf, but he's starting to look less and less like a dead elf. What were you saying, Alina? Bones?
Yeah, so I gave 10 hit points to Hornwall to hopefully bolster him a bit.
You see that he molts a little less, and he seems a little less flustered. But he's still panting. He still looks weak. Give me just a quick medicine check off the cuff, or insight.
I think I'm equally bad at both of those. Yeah, I'm equally bad at both of those.
Equally bad at both. Yeah, either he's really, really hurt, or really, really something. You can't put your finger on it. He does seem amenable.
Oh, it felt rather quite pleasant. Whew. Ooh, thank you.
And then as I see my friends just sacrificing their life force to the lich thing, I'm gonna
Oh
make
yeah,
my
they
way
are
over.
making offering. They're making offerings to a fucking lich. It's Grace.
Alright. As the lone paladin here, I'm going to say maybe we can stop giving all of our life force to the giant the friendly undead thing. She kind of like makes a nod at that, like friendly undead, but like you all are very fucking hurt. So maybe stop, especially you. And she looks at Roar like with a finger, like a mom finger, like. So stop doing that.
Are you jealous that you do
I should
not
probably
give
roll
life
that
force?
prayer of healing to get everybody up some HP.
All right.
Yes,
life
yeah, go ahead and roll your prayer of healing, because that HP should have gone through by now.
Am I
So whatever
jealous?
this is, plus 4.
All right, so 12 plus 4, so that's 16 HP.
Everybody that you mentioned, and I'll hit Hornwall for the last option because
Okay, yeah. So we got Verdi, Bones, Karn, Roar, and Alina. Those of you who are wounded gain 16 HP.
retroactively like 5 minutes of conversation.
Yeah, you guys are like slowly healing over time, realizing that your wounds aren't quite as bad as you thought they were. As Leah's kind of in the background, what do you want with the magic word. Hornwall fluffs up a little bit. Ooh, that tingles. That tingles. Where did the tingle come from? Ooh, ooh. Looks to one of the skeletons somewhat suspiciously.
I'm
Because
just
I
saying.
figure if I'm going to be channeling positivity, it's probably going to be for Adanu.
Okay.
I'm just saying that the lich looks fine. He's not falling apart anymore. He almost looks alive. Close enough.
I'm currently placing coins on his eyes.
I mean, close enough.
He kind of squints at you and scrunches up his face, and his face doesn't break into pieces as he scrunches it. Nose kind of flared. Must I have my eyes closed for this? Open.
Yes, I'm afraid you may be blind for a little bit, but if this works, then, well, it will work.
And I cast gentle, and I weave my hands together, converting 3 sorcery points into a level 2 slot, and then promptly use that slot to cast Gentle Repose on him.
Gentle Repose. Okay. Okay.
Oh shit, the music dropped.
You summon your magic, your sorcerous power, the power of your blood, the power of your craft. And you begin to twist it and change it and transform it from this impulsive, wicked energy, this destructive force, this raw power, and you shape it. You prod it in places. You twist it in places. You take this torrent of etheric energy and, like words of prose, form it into something gentler, more meaningful, with a purpose. As layers of the magic invisibly wrap around Adanu, you don't see anything happen. As the spell comes to its conclusion, you don't feel any different. His body doesn't shift or change. But you are certain that the magic is there. You can feel it there.
How do you feel?
My back is damp and cold. I believe I have laid in a puddle.
It's good that you still have humor.
His,
I can fix that for you.
Oh, we will need a piece of cloth first. The coins cannot move.
The coins cannot move? How long must I wear these on my face?
Until a more permanent solution is found, or 10 days, whichever comes first.
Oh,
Biff has cloth. Biff just takes off his. He actually goes in his stuff and finds his torn up purple gi, rips off a piece, um, and offers it for someone else to wrap it around his eyes because he doesn't know if it has to be a certain way.
Vanya will take it and promptly fold it and manipulate it and then tie it tightly around Adanu's eyes to make sure that the coins are held in place.
Yeah, Vanya, you know what you have to do. You used gum last time. This time you're using cloth. You get it nice and tight around his head. And as you are pulling it taut, you find that his skin is firm enough that you don't break it. That his skull is firm enough that you don't break it. And you're tying it rather tight up behind his head. He purses his lips momentarily.
Well, if this is my salvation, I shall abide by blindness, as long as it may be necessary. It is a strange feeling. Moments ago, I was certain my end had come to me. Moments ago, I was willing to allow you all to escape, so I could face my mistakes alone. Thank you.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done.
This has been, if nothing else, quite interesting.
He goes to sit up. And Biff, what were you saying?
What you feel is the power of friendship.
Not sure if I would go that far yet, but
Biff think that if a bunch of people give up their life to save one person, perhaps there is a little friendship involved. A little obligation, yes, but come on.
As you say that, you notice Bulg up in the corner. He's kind of like made a pinching sensation with his fingers, but he is nodding in your direction.
Alright. Who is for pushing on and who is for staying here? Because if we're staying here, we're going to camp, and you... She specifically points at, like, Roar and Bones, who still look pretty messed up, are going to go to get some rest.
Well,
You're not my mother.
I'm not sure we have mothers.
Also, what the fuck, Karn?
Hello.
He's fixed.
Alright. Roar, you will listen to me, or I will go tell Gallium on you.
What is a gallium?
Where is the gallium?
Vanya looks at Biff. I'm sorry they keep cutting you off.
It's okay, it's okay. Perhaps Biff only wanted to say that the impetus for us to rush off to the city has been removed. So perhaps we can camp. And Mbanje in the back kind of leans over a Skelly dude. I can kind of help with that. He moves forward to finally introduce himself. Mbanje Embermoss at your service. If you would allow me, I could totally make this a safe haven for us so that we wouldn't have to worry about anything really bothering us.
This one is fine with any decision, for this one is very confused.
I've also have access to tiny hut. Well, it won't cover the entirety of the group, but if that's what you're thinking on your spell, then between the two of us.
Wait, hold on. We're staying the night now? Hildy looks very disgruntled.
I mean, I think we're figuring that out. We can travel. It'll take us most of the night to get back to the city.
This is Heldy, by the way.
Yeah, hi, whatever. Yeah, no, woods at night here, whatever. And she kind of just forgets about arguing because it doesn't really matter to her, I guess.
I'm looking for the name of the attribute.
Hearth of Moonlight and Shadow.
There it is. Okay. Yeah. And do you need a description of Mbanje, Sam? So you,
Oh, yeah, Sam, this is probably the first time you've seen.
I'm sorry?
I can see his token right now.
Okay, it's a 7-foot dude with dreadlocks, amber eyes, kind of slumping because he's tall as hell. I guess imagine a dark-skinned Shaggy.
Karn is sizing up this human who's as tall as he is.
I had not pictured him that way, but I love it so much.
But yeah, Hearth of Moonlight and Shadow is what Mbanje could do. I wonder if I could just... Yeah, so that's the thing.
Oh, you can just click over and open it. So Mbanje explains the spell. Leah, you had asked about the spell, and Mbanje explains that using Fey magic, he can create a zone that conceals the area. A fire can even be lit, and most creatures won't even notice it.
Yeah, I had to after the thing is open, you press info and it'll throw up the info sheet.
Yeah, I was thinking of a slightly different spell, but let's see.
Yeah, Tiny Hut is similar. Indeed, they are very similar abilities. And between the two of you, you can cover everybody. In fact, I think
one could be used for a place for everyone to rest in, and the other one could be for those on guards to hide in and keep watch on the road.
Absolutely. As you guys consider, the tactical advantages, you do see that there are some points of elevation that you could create a watch point. There is an area off the beaten road that is would be normally concealable without magical means, but with Mbanje's ability, could be potentially even more secure.
So Roy interjects.
And we have those beds in the portable hole. I could just, Karn. And
I look over and I finally see him. Oh,
that's where Gallium is.
I wave.
Gallium is actually not with the party.
Oh, he's not? Okay.
As you look back and you see this metal person, you find a short, hip-heighted, small person covered in just plates and plates of armor, wielding weapons that are much too large for them. A pair of iron boots is dangling from their pike. Or their halberd, rather.
If you're pretty good, if you do particularly well on a perception check, you might see the indents of a pair of boots on their chest plate.
Yeah, I'm not looking that close. Just not recognizing it as not Gallium when I was being threatened with Gallium.
You've changed.
Yeah, no, that's
Gallium, you shrank.
You shrank a lot. No, so yeah, since it's not Gallium, I'll say
Karn and I can keep moving. We're not affected by the need for rest the way you are. So we could just keep moving while other people rested inside of the hole.
Oh.
Why would you move? Why would you leave? Is there a rush to get back?
I have a magic project back in New Haven that I would really like to get back to as soon as possible.
We all have things to do. Perhaps it is better for us all to get there together, so you are not accosted by the beasties.
All right, so with Alina staunchly threatening people with their lives to stay put and camp out, and several others being ambivalent, perhaps even a little irate at the idea of staying in the woods, I'm going to pull you guys out of character and ask.
Bad. Tensor's floating disc isn't bigger.
Tensor's floating disc is not big enough for what you want to do. Do we stay the night, make camp with the multiple options that you have, or do you cobble together a plan to get home by first light?
I can see no reason why they can't stay and rest.
Okay. That's one for staying.
Yeah, I think staying is the better option. For character-wise, Verdi knows these woods, but traveling at night is kind of dangerous. And for Hildy, she's never been outside of the city, so she's kind of like, no.
Alright, so that's, I see we've lost Sam. Is everything okay?
Baby crying and woke up. He needs like full on wailing.
Okay.
I think
I'm gonna put him down
actually...
for
what?
I'm gonna put Sam down for heading back home.
Yeah.
Whenever we get a chance to check in with him, Karn is going to run an idea by Roar. Since they don't need sleep and they are right next to a sentinel, maybe while everyone's resting, if they stay here, they can see about trying to get into the sentinel while everyone's resting.
That's 3 for camping. Which leaves Heather, Alicia.
Yeah, so
Alina wants to camp.
Alina would like everyone to camp and get some sleep and chill and heal because she's really... People look beat the fuck up and tired, and it's been a long ass day. Bones is not particularly concerned in either direction, as she'll probably stay up a good chunk of time pestering Adanu with questions via transcription pen, and is perfectly happy to rest there and get there in the morning.
Yeah, hell yeah. So you guys decide to stay the night. That's more than half. Decide to stay.
Leah has rituals to help either way.
Rituals either way. So, Mbanja, you managed to create a camp spot. You pick out a spot, and you summon the power of the gloaming court. Bones, as you watch Mbanja, you're keeping an eye on everybody. You Inquisitors gonna inquisitive. It's dark. You got dark vision. Whatevs. Dim. You watch Mbanja as he performs his magic, and it's not quite summoning. But some of the movements and some of the mannerisms that he uses as he layers these levels of magic, you get a familiar sensation. The pit of your gut, you feel a tugging, instinctual tug, as your muscles kind of tense without your control of them. You recognize your flight or fight reflexes are kicking in. And the sensation is startlingly similar. The familiarity is startlingly similar to the dream you had. Not of the tavern in the tree, but of the woods beyond. The mists and the things that lurk, and the ravens that led you out of those woods. You're reminded of that instance.
Bones will approach Mbanja as he's casting. And she'll ask in Sylvan, because she's just going to assume he speaks Sylvan. This is Elven magic, isn't it? Or not Elven, this is Fey magic, isn't it?
Do I speak? I speak Elvish, not Sylvan.
Do you get Sylvan as part of the kit?
No, he would have known what the
yeah, he probably doesn't fucking speak. Yeah, she's making assumptions.
I know, but I gotta double check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heather is aggressively trying to not metagame.
If I'm doing something wrong and not having Sylvan, if it's like part of his kit because he's
I'm double checking. You unfortunately you do not. You catch like every fifth word that that Bones says. How does Mbanja react to someone speaking like deep Spanish delivery.
Como no ese speaking que la lengua?
That's an interesting, and she'll switch to Elvish because she speaks that too. That's an interesting pronunciation, but sure. All right, so you don't speak Sylvan. We can just go back to Common then. I was.
Elvish is fine.
I was just asking. This is Fey magic, isn't it?
Fey magic, yes. This is Fey magic. From the Feywild. Fey magic.
Yeah, I've felt this before.
Yeah, it makes you feel all tingly and cool inside, doesn't it? All the magic and wonder. It's pretty awesome.
Huh.
Bones is thinking, this is not the guru I'm looking for.
Maybe not magic and wonder, but sure.
Can Mbanje see easily enough that she's maybe a little...
I think she's got like when the cat spots a bug on the floor and they're not chasing it, but like they got their ears are like twitching and their tail's a little twitchy.
Okay.
As the magic settles in and the air, the ground, the shadows are a little bit darker. After the magic is cast, Bones, you don't feel quite as on edge. As you're standing in the center of it with Mbanje, you recognize similarities to some magic that you have experienced before. It is some kind of concealment magic, some kind of dampening magic, and the fact that it is secure and quiet, don't know if that would make a character feel more comfortable, but that's what you get. This is a safe zone, or at least it is a concealed zone.
And she'll like visibly relax as the spell finishes, and that feeling of, yeah, something chased me in the fucking Feywild, and this is the feels. As long as once that's gone, she'll kind of settle a little bit.
All right. As Verdi, you notice someone familiar keeps side-eyeing you in the dark as you tend to Natasha and look about, looking for areas where you could be potentially attacked from. You're doing the ranger thing. You're making sure that nothing is watching you from the shadows, and you find something is watching you from the shadows, and it's familiar.
No, Verdi heard Vanya's voice, but he's just so caught up in still being in, I guess, work mode that he hasn't really gotten down from that high yet. And once everyone is settling and once camp is starting to be made, they start winding down and they will make their way to Vanya. Very confused. I didn't think you would leave the city. How did you get out here?
It's a bit of a story. It involves a landfill and red caps and the body of a dragon and many, many crabs. Oh, and Harangan. Peterhas. Gilnean story. And a owl teleporting us here. It sounds very much like a fairy tale now that I think about it.
You are all over the place. Maybe you should tell me later.
I kind of clap my hands together with a faint hysterical look. It has been quite a day.
Same.
I'm glad to see you're okay, though.
Same.
Have you been sleeping well?
I found a couch.
Have you had to use any of the potions?
No. We haven't gone into that much trouble, so we have gone into lots of trouble. Leah is a very good healer.
I owe her my thanks for keeping you alive, then.
Freddie kind of blinks some, like he was gonna die? She was afraid that he was gonna die? And he kind of scratches the back of his head, a little tickled by that.
After the day Vanya has, she fully expects anyone who leaves the city is faced with life or death choices.
Vanya has gotten a taste of adventure, and now she's thinking, what kind of crap does Verdi go through?
What is this bullshit?
Bones is 100% gonna make her way quietly over to Hornwall.
Alright, you meander over toward Hornwall as Vanya and Verdi have a quiet conversation.
So are you from the Feywild? I'm getting a lot of mixed information from what they're talking about.
I'm privileged to be specific. Well, they call me Old Hornwall. It is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. You are, Tabaxi, yes?
Yes, I'm called Bones.
Bones? Auspicious.
She kind of glances at the skeletons behind him and just shrugs.
Oh, you're not the beautiful woman I thought you were. Oh, you're much more thin and wiry. Pardon me?
As though seeing them for the first time, he looks frazzled. He looks tired. And he takes a step away from the skeletons and toward the tiny cluster of armor and anger that is Incognitus, leaving Jackson and Frederick somewhat confused.
Would
behind.
Bones know that Amber Breeze is the Autumn Court, given her background-ish now?
You can roll an insight check. You have not heard it by name.
I was gonna say, Hornwall comes towards the mother aura of the angry pile of armor.
So, Bones, with your 15, you have spent quite a bit of time within the Tavern in the Tree, and you have seen all manner of creatures. You have seen what you know out of character as Ladrin, as dryads, as nymphs. You've seen a troll at one point, and satyrs. You've also seen small to medium-sized folk who appear to be, they have animalistic qualities to varying degrees. You saw a large, beady, black-eyed mouse bussing tables. You saw what looked to be a squirrel handing out drinks, and a number of rabbit-like folk. This person, Hornwall, very much fits a description of someone who would be within the Tavern in the Tree.
Alright, I will switch to Sylvan and just go, do you know anything about a tavern in a tree?
His fuzzy, feathered brows raise, and you see his cheeks begin to lift.
Ah, yes. A tavern in the tree. That is where the Autumn Prince holds his court.
Yes, it is.
Terribly, terribly unfortunate. Many of the denizens can enter and leave, but not him. A bit too large, a bit too old, and a bit too powerful. Why, it was a whole process just for me to squeeze through that tiny, tiny little gate.
Right. So okay. I'll circle back to gate. Is that the same as opening the door?
He tilts his head slightly, and I have to check some notes real quick. Be back in 1 second, guys.
Sure.
This game is chaotic in a very entertaining way.
I'm gonna. I
asked Rob if Tiny Hut has to be centered on the caster, if I can be on the edge of it, because if I set it up like a fucking Elvish Venn diagram, I can cover everybody.
so 2 blocks is
Not
straight.
with the smoke, guys. Sorry, I think the neighbors are burning something, but some of the
Yeah,
smoke.
you can smoke.
Yeah, weird. So does someone step aside? Sorry about that, guys. I had a sudden panic attack. Heather, you still with us?
Heather just stepped away to see if she could rescue Sam.
Heather stepped aside. Okay. Alicia, did you have a question?
Oh, just the fact that I asked you if I don't see anywhere where it specifies that Tiny Hut has to be centered on the caster. So, like, if I set it up like a Elvish Venn diagram, I could cover everybody. Or secured, like magical wall sleeping.
10-foot radius hemisphere. Range is south.
Oh, never mind. It's range self. That is centered.
Yeah. I'll say that you can cast it like if you sit in the center of the Venn diagram, you can have it close enough to cover. Yeah. Or you can cast it and then move, and then cast it and have them overlap.
Yeah. Well, that's what I would. Because if I leave either of them, then that one ends.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah.
I think Tiny Hut, you have to be in the center of it at all times to keep it up.
Well, you have to be in it, in the 10-foot circle. But I figure if I could cast it from the edge, then I could just be in the middle and give everybody else more room, because everybody else can come and go from the circle they've been cast on.
So by Venn diagram, you mean they both overlap in the middle? If you cast it and you cast it so that you are like in one corner of it, I'll say that you don't have to be directly in the center.
Okay.
Yeah, you can definitely overlap 2 circles and place yourself in the middle, but you won't be stuck there.
Well, yeah. It would be me trancing whatever all night.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do have a question, like, with the Warforged looking over the Sentinel, is there a point of elevation over here that it would make sense for the group to camp there instead?
So this is a point of low elevation over here. There's low elevation over here. This over here is a point of high elevation.
Yeah, you could put. Let's see if I can.
Because I also have to be in a thing. So like if
like get rid of that, whatever that is. How do I get rid of that?
Oh, the sphere vanishes at the end of a rest or when you leave the sphere.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you put it like here, it would probably be better for keeping watch. That makes sense.
You want to put the resting sphere over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, if that would also help the Sentinels. Help the Sentinel raiders.
Help the Warforged.
So there?
I was instead of Tomb Raiders, Sentinel Raiders.
Yeah, you put the you can put the quiet spot there.
Okay. Do you think that's good for you, Mish, or would you need it a little like to cover the whole thing?
I'm not sure what the. I have no idea how it looks underground, so I think that looks fine. It's got elevation. It overlaps the location, so I think it's a good place.
Okay.
I mean, if you're digging, you're probably going to want to be digging under its chin because it's probably laying flat on the ground.
The issue with that is that it doesn't make sense to put that in the middle of the road.
Yeah. So where would you prefer that it be moved? I can
No. This is a good spot. I'm just kind of giving a soft warning, or a reason why I don't cover the whole Sentinel's face, because like if a random person is trotting along.
Rando. And I mean, it could be off map too. Like it could be off in the woods somewhere nearby. I could put the corner like off map if you want.
If Mish is, because I do want part of the thing covered to give the Warforged at least some some
Haven't
cover
responded.
while they look.
Right now they're
Hey,
just
that
arguing
is
about where to put the thing.
perfect. Let's go with that.
All right. So we're gonna put it there instead. Okay. Still waiting on Heather. What else is
I
there?
said I was back.
You are back. I didn't hear you. Sorry. So nothing is on fire. We thought there was a fire. Nothing's on fire. You ask Hornwall about a locked door, and Hornwall nods. Within the domain of Amberbreeze, at its center is a great birch tree, bold, not a single leaf upon it. Within the tree, there is an archway, and beyond that is the tavern within the tree, as we call it. Creatures from near and far, well, not very far. Amberbreeze is it's closed off. Other portions of the Feywild can't get into it easily. A long time ago, the door to the tavern in the tree was locked by a strange magic, preventing only the squirmiest of creatures from getting in or getting out. Small things like sprites and spirits and creatures like me, could squeeze through the gaps. The larger and older and more powerful creatures, when the lock was locked, they found themselves trapped. It's harder, the more ancient and more powerful you are, to get through those sealed off places. Occasionally, missives arrive from the other courts, from the Gloaming Court, the Spring and Summer courts, and oftentimes carried by small things, sprites, spirits, much like the one that your friend, I think that your friend? He gestures toward Vanya and the tiny little cat familiar on her shoulder.
She nods in agreement. Everyone is Alina's friend. Alina doesn't... You have to really piss Alina off for her to not claim you as a... Actually, no, it's Bones. Sorry, I am running way too many characters in my brain today. Bones nods. Close enough. Friend. Sure.
Hornwall nods, and he seems to recognize that you have a glimmer of understanding, and that seems to excite the old bird.
So, and she'll kind of step closer. I am one of those things that can get in and out of the tavern sometimes.
Oh, squirmy, are you? You don't look the type, but I've seen stranger things today.
I also opened the door a little bit.
The door has budged recently. That was your doing.
She nods.
He inclines his head slightly. Something to do with this place is the cause of all of it. I believe the fact that the weave is anchored here. This place is anchored, as well as Amberbreeze. They are connected in some way. Perhaps they were overlapping during the time that something bad befell the place.
I've got some theories I'm working on.
Have you seen the dragon?
Oh, yes.
Well, I have theories about that myself. Perhaps we should exchange notes at some time.
We should wait for Reg. He's
Yes,
much more knowledgeable than
I've heard of this Reg.
Alina sighed, or Bones side eyes Alina. Okay. Good-ish, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, I hope his reputation is not a letdown. An utter and absolute letdown. He's not an absolute dullard, is he?
Oh, no, he's not that. He's
Good!
quite clever. Oh shit, Reg! And she'll pull out her book and her pen and be like, still.
It's just scribbles. There's so many scribbles from you jostling the book around. There's been a lot of, I'm on standby, I am waiting, you are fighting, waiting for an update. Things are moving fast. What is going on? I'm still in my pajamas. I'm now in pants. Still waiting with pants. I'm putting on coffee. Got coffee. I'm not sleeping tonight, am I? And this is all like doctor writing, super scribbled.
Oh yeah. She'll sit down with the book. Just write, "We survived," and start with that.
I was gonna say, if Leah overhears this conversation and Cornwall asking if he's a dullard, a little overworked from time and a little sleep deprived, but he's not.
Yes.
Not slow.
Exhaustion will lay any mage low. Or do I know it?
Knowing nods all around.
So, Bones, you have a second. You write back to Reg. He writes back very quickly. Oh, thank the gods. And you begin to explain what has happened during your fucking adventure. You have a lich, a Belnorn, that you just stabilized. You have an owl man.
Yep.
I assume Alina comes up and tells you about all the bullshit that's been happening with king crabs and fae folk and trolls.
Actually, no, Alina wouldn't, because Alina would just be like, "Stop writing to your boyfriend and go the fuck to bed."
Go the fuck to sleep!
And Bones will be like, "Yeah, in a minute. And she's like
halfway through, she grabs a pen and just draws a dick on the page.
Not yet, but she's getting there.
It's getting there. Your dick illustrations are imminent.
Penis Ouija.
Penis Ouija. So you start Penis Ouija, basically. You and Alina start to get into it. And you're always like one misstep away from having your pen confiscated.
Yep. But so Alina would not raid Bones in, because she's like, "I don't need you to stay up even later to talk to your boyfriend about it. We'll just see him in the morning. Go the fuck to sleep." And Bones is meanwhile like, "We have a master of wizardry from Omu. We've got a fucking wizard owl person from the Feywild, from Amber Breeze," which I'm pretty sure is the Autumn Court, and it's just words, so many words.
It's word salad. Yeah. You start going back and forth. You inform Reg as much as Alina will allow you to. And that's what you're doing. During this time, let's see. Leah, you've taken a spot to start casting your spells. And Banjay, you're in the center of your little meditation circle, and it is nice and cool. You're in a jungle, but it is nice and cool. You've got like air conditioning from the gloaming court near. Holy shit, it's actually pleasant. Pleasant enough to sleep in armor? That's up to you. But it is nice and cool. You guys begin gathering bedrolls. Those of you who have to sleep are feeling it. It's past midnight. You've been up since morning. Many of you have been stabbed.
Vanya's introducing Verdi to Petal, Frederick, and Jackson.
Verdi likes the cat, is very hesitant about the skeletons.
I will mention that when I'm casting Tiny Hut, whoever's going to be in each of the huts needs to be within the hut when I cast it.
All right. Leah calls some of you guys, if you want a place to stay for the night, a safe space that's basically indestructible, you got to be within range of her when she casts it. She begins, ritual casting her spells over the course of 10 minutes. You guys can figure out your sleeping arrangements as far as that goes. And Banjay, you roll around the grass. You find a nice smelling patch. You do the dog thing. Vanya, you introduce Verdi to your skeletons. Petal is very pleased to meet Verdi.
What are you doing, Vanya? You got the white skin and your horn and your floppy ears like a cow. Hold you.
More or less. Verdi, you hear a shitload of like mewling and meowing and purring. Vanya, it is a soup of overexcited words in your ear.
She likes you.
Natasha hears the meowing and kind of leans up and gives Petal a sniff or two. Verdi, you recognize that Natasha's hungry.
No, Natasha, no, you cannot eat that one. No.
She licks her chops, looks to you, and does that cat huff
and Verdi will take out their meat rations to feed Natasha.
You feed Natasha.
I see that Verdi is feeding their cat. Do I need to feed my cat? And Alina's like about to steal the pen out of Bones' hand again.
Oh man. It's a tiny hut. And eventually you guys begin to bed. Fiend Keeper Bulgup takes a spot on top of the Sentinel's head, not knowing how useful or how old or how ancient or valuable it is, and just kind of watches as people do their own thing, just elated and enamored by this whole camping outside thing. Dude's been living in a cave. There are stars. It's actually this is a win for him. Heldy, these fuckers are camping, and you've been at least assured that either with Mbanje or with this weird elf lady, there is a safe spot to bed.
Yeah, Hildy, I guess, will find a safe spot to bed, and just, like, she doesn't, like, she knows kind of the people that she's been partying with, and now there's more people that she don't know, and yeah, she's gonna be sleeping with one eye open.
Okay. You manage to, you follow up to Leah, Leah. Biff, you sidle up next to Heldy, and you introduce yourself. Heldy, you recognize Biff Shiva. There had been, like, a dragon fight happened, and he was one of these newcomers, a greenhorn, that showed up and made some fuss in town. You recognize him. You're not totally familiar, but you recognize him.
It's like Biff's not trying to put on a charm, just he'll try to, you know what? Pardon Biff for asking, but Biff has never seen horns shaped as such. Is that natural?
I think that's a personal question.
Fair. Perhaps one day you will feel comfortable enough telling Biff over some hot chocolate.
No, you're not my type. And she walks away.
Woof.
Oof.
You do not like chocolate? Okay.
Clearly, Heldy does not like chocolate. Biff, you shoot your shot. You get blocked on the horn front, and now you know of two tieflings. Two tieflings who have strange horns, and you still don't know why their horns like this. You are burning with these questions about their horns.
Well, he's just gonna shrug and go meditate for a little bit. The magical scenery seems to have changed with a lot of things happening, so he'll try to see if there is something new to see.
Yep. You look about the area. You find that there is this very, very tall, lean and shaggy-like individual is creating a safe haven of sorts. As soon as you step into the area, you recognize that it is. It's quiet. It's cool. And it's comforting. Let's see here. Where is chat? As people begin to set up camps, Roar, you with us?
Yep.
Okay. As you stepped away, Mitch had brought up that Karn would have asked Roar if he would want to need help or if he would like to start digging up parts of this sentinel, this this construct. See if you guys can.
They don't need to sleep as much as the flesh and blood people. Then maybe they could do some excavating to take a peek inside.
Roar would look at it and say, I can dig. I can use the same thing that allowed us to, move earth and fix the dam faster to get towards the chest, to where the hole in the chest should be. Looking at the way the statue is and the other things, does it appear to be lying on its back, or does it appear to be just like for some reason its head is facing the sky but standing straight up.
Yeah, so the map isn't 100% accurate to what's happening. The head is above the ground, kind of tilted up a little bit. The chin is buried up to like about the upper lip. But it looks as though it was standing when it was submerged in the ground. Maybe listed a little bit.
Okay. Then, knowing how big the last one was something like 50 feet down from the chin to the chest cavity where we need to navigate in?
Yeah, and as you guys are discussing this, and as you mention this out loud too, you want to dig down to Karn. Adanu, with his blindfold on, coins on his eyes, he hears you guys, and he gently lifts a hand. He's been sitting cross-legged on the ground for a bit. He's deprived of sight, so he's just kind of listening to everything.
Actually, if you have an ability to excavate the earth quickly, if you could free its mouth, the sides of its head and its jaw, I may be able to determine if its etheric array is still intact.
Oh, yeah, that would be a lot easier. I would need like a couple minutes.
This one believes this one knows the spell the Roar has used in the past. This one can assist with the Roar's guidance.
I'm afraid it will have to be my eyes on this. But yes, if you can clear most of the face, the mouth, the jaw, and some of the neck, I may be able to do something. Please, by all means, let me know when that task is done.
All right.
And with that, since I now have a thing to do, I'll start casting Mold Earth.
All right, you go and you start molding the earth. You tap into the inner magic of your Aether Stone. And as far as molding the earth, do you fluff this anyway? It's your character, your class. You can make this happen any way you choose.
Because of how I have it, I'm just moving my hands about and like think of Mickey from the Sorcerer's Apprentice, where just hands dancing and stuff back and forth. It's just lifting hands up, palm up to lift the mud and dirt.
Like a conductor?
Yep.
Like a conductor flicking their hands? Oh, that's nice.
Well,
I love that.
Interesting aspect to that, because Karn also has mold earth, so he would be following Roar's instructions to assist with this. And Karn is much more straightforward. He's making like shoveling motions, so he's moving his hands in like every direction. He's moving the earth. Less conductor and more just bulldozer.
So the two of you side by side have this strange dichotomy where Roar, you are lifting and sculpting and you have a momentum, a tempo, something that you recall from Meister Price. He had a bit of like theatrical energy to him, even with his failing health. He still had a little bit of bounce to him, a little bit of a pep. And you fall in line with that very similar momentum, that tempo. You lift and you drop, and you lift and you drop, and you push and you pull. And these clumps of earth, they kind of bounce almost with whimsy as you kind of lift and bounce and flick to the side in piles and heaps and great deep pits. Where Karn, you are like, you reach forward and you close your eyes and you make your hand flat. You chop forward. And with a heaving press, you burst to the side. And the swaths of earth are pushed clumsily in one direction. And as you work together side by side, it's almost like strings and drums working discordantly. But those watching on see the magic in play, the magic at work, and the two of you feel there is a bit of synchronicity between your movements. It doesn't take you long as you begin to reveal parts of the stone sentinels, their head armor, the great massive earrings on its ears, its maw, and its neck. And as you are close face to face with its mouth, Karn, with your high perception, I'll be working around. You start to see the seams where the lips connect to the jawline, connect to the ear. Nestled in on each of the creature's jaw is a depression. Within sit, as you unearth it, a pair of palm-sized glass polish crystals.
This one found something.
I'll motion Roar over to take a look.
I nod. I haven't. It might be the same thing as I have a nerf on my side. But I come over and double check what he's pointing to.
Yeah, you see, you confirm what Karn has seen. You look it over. You take a quick pan around to the side, and you find there is a similar depression with a similar crystal. Go to bed, cat. And as you guys begin to speak and mull it over, Adanhu begins to stand wobbly as he kind of stumbles, a little blind, and the earth is... yes! The screen keeps moving, I love it. A little wobbly because he's blinded by the blindfold.
Is it done? Have you unearthed the face?
Yes. And there's crystals where the mouth seam meets up.
He reaches a hand out blindly in your direction.
Could you lead me?
I take his arm in mine, and I carefully walk him over, and then I will take his hands and I'll put them, like his left hand on the seam, and I'll put his right hand on the crystal.
Right, he follows the seam, follows the crystal, touches it a few times, and you can't see it because he's wearing a blindfold, but you see some shifting beneath the fabric.
Yes, this is it.
And he begins to speak aloud in Elven. Those of you who speak Elven, you hear him recite some phrases in the old language, the old colloquial.
Before you is a friend. Please. Open thine maw.
There is a trembling as the crystal begins to faintly glow, a deep, dull purple. And a rumbling begins. As the lips begin to part very, very slowly. The chin touches the ground. Adanhu takes a step back, and you see a smile touch his lips.
Oh, yes, yes! Most excellent.
As the jaw hits the ground and digs into the soft earth, the back of the head begins to shift upward. Roots snap. Boulders beneath it nearby crack. Bulgup begins to flare. It's just moving! And it leaps away, springing as his foothold is broken. And soon, Roar and Karn, you see that the Sentinel's maw, within there is a platform made of its tongue and a deep black expanse within, unlit. Dim light filters in slightly from the starlight, but it's dark inside.
I'll pick up 2 stones nearby and imbue them with gentle light magic. For my natural tinkering, I just take a tool and start carving runes in them really quick, and they start to glow a little bit. And I'll look at Adanhu.
So the tongue is out. Do we step onto it?
Yes, step on the tongue.
I with my arm in I loop my arm in Adonhu's and step forward onto the tongue with him.
Yeah, Alina's like,
You see some people enter the mouth of this giant stone
Alina's
statue.
Not doing that. Hey, if you're going to go in the creepy place with a lich, I'm coming too.
Yeah, Biff was sitting.
Will call out, don't forget how Adano first reacted to you.
That's why Adonhu's with me.
Biff was sitting on the phase when all of this happened.
Make a quick dexterity saving throw. Please, retroactively. You have feather fall, so you're fine. I just want to see if you eat shit.
So I think I have the advantage on that stuff somehow.
On dexterity saving throws? We got well, let me look.
I'm looking slow fall. I don't see it. Anyway, that was.
No, you've got evasion. That's a different thing. You take you take no damage if you succeed a dexterity saving throw attack.
Right.
So, like a dragon's fire breath, if you pass, you don't take damage. That's not the same for everybody. Everyone else takes half damage.
I got a 15.
15? All right. Yeah, you managed to leap off as it begins to move and shudder and shake. You can place yourself somewhere within your movement speed.
Well, rather that, I wanted to like slide off and kind of nudge the Warforged with my feet so they don't step into the mouth.
You're sitting on the thing's nose and kind of like preventing them from entering.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you sit on the ledge. You manage to maintain your foothold, and you're sitting kind of like on the creature's nose and the creature's lip, and barring entry. Alina, you are barring entry by sheer force of no.
I'm not going to bar entry, but I'm definitely going to be like, okay, I'm going with you. Fine, I'm fully healed. I'll be all right. I've got the sword in case the liches decide to act up.
Yes, more eyes. We may need more eyes down there. I do not know what awaits.
Cool.
All right, as the four of you step onto this giant stone tongue.
I raise a hand to the side of my head and just kind of bat myself once, and my eye lights flicker into brightness as I cast dark vision on myself.
Oh shit! Okay, I love it. I love it. You start seeing in the dark. It is dim right now, so you see in bright light, and as you enter in, it becomes dim light to you. It's all shades of gray. Adonhu looks to the left and looks to the right, blindly, lifts up a hand, and an elven. Descend. For a moment, there's nothing. And then, the tongue shudders. As the stone sentinel swallows its tongue.
I'd say this is creepy, but I don't even think this is the creepiest thing I've done today.
Probably not. The four of you begin to descend into a narrow channel of stone. A black, obsidian-like stone that reflects faint amounts of light. During this time, everyone else is bedding down, chatting amongst themselves, kind of watching on with scrutiny.
Yeah, Biff doesn't really trust that, but, they're already gone. What you gonna do?
Mm-hmm. Hornwall approaches the stone sentinel's mouth and watches, rubbing his chin, perusing. He's a little too timid to get close. Bulgup, likewise, has approached to watch, but is not, definitely not keen on going inside of another one of these things. Not today, Satan.
He says to the devil in his head.
Not today, said Satan.
Not today, said Satan.
Not today, not again.
Those of you inside of the stone
The statues just swallowed 2 of your friends.
They knew what they were doing.
Verdi kind of like opens his mouth and closes it and moves to inspect, but feels that he has missed the boat of them going inside of it.
Yet you're a little bit too preoccupied with something else or someone else. I need just a moment.
I think Save will be fine. They have Alina.
If not, the little bunch is open.
Let's see. There was a specific person I need information about.
Biff has punched ghosts. Biff probably punched Sentinel open.
It is a very large statue. Are you sure you could punch something like this open?
You have not seen Biff in action. It is glorious thing.
Looks at Verdi.
Is this true?
Biff is very capable of many things.
I noticed you did not say punching statues.
I wouldn't doubt his capabilities.
From the distance, you hear a web-footed creature pipe up.
I have witnessed him punch a crystal man, a man made of stone. Does that count?
Biff flexes at Bogups, agreeing. An appraisal.
Yes, we fought some rock elementals, and did you crack it?
Probably. Biff does many things. Biff is quite a cracking person.
Biff confirmed for cracked.
I was trying to say it without saying it.
So, as you guys descend within the Stone Sentinel, you find your platform comes to a stop. Cause you guys to lurch slightly. Before you, there is an archway. Those of you with dark vision can make out that the arch is made of metal of some kind, and it is not complete. The corners of the arch lift up and around in a sort of almost half circle, and then extend upward like a prong. A small gap stands between it before it is mirrored on the other side, almost like a tuning fork attached to a circle. At its center, you see a human-sized portal made out of stone, a six-pointed, curling shutter-like structure. Several moments pass, and the stone portal starts to shutter open, twisting outward in a circular fashion. You look into an open area, an expanse, with a floor of obsidian black stone, cobwebs, and little bits of dust have gathered in the corners of the room. Beside you, Adanu, he begins to move forward, leading you guys in. And beside you, as you enter, in the center of the room to your very left, you see a throne-like fixture with that similar prong-like motif of some kind of metal, some kind of shiny metal. The throne itself is made of a stone of some kind. Behind is a black slate, polished to a mirror sheen. what little light emanates from your forms, Karn, your eyelights, or your eyelights.
I have my light stone made,
Light
so
stone.
it's bright light 5 feet and dim light 5 feet, so I can see at least 10 feet.
You guys do see that the archway is made of gold-colored metal. The throne is golds and silvers and a black, shining metal material. The slate behind the throne reflects light as though polished to a mirror sheen. And the floor, hard to tell with the light, you see it as some kind of transparent glass-like material. But it is almost nearly opaque. All around you, reaching high into the sides of the room, are small alcoves with a similar pronged metal motif archway. They all appear to be empty. There are dozens, if not hundreds of them, that reach high into the darkness above. Daniel, he looks pensive. Which is... I sense nothing. The Faith Keepers, where have the Faith Keepers gone? Where is Khalid? The Conjurer? Where is anyone?
No one appears to be here.
I do not understand. The etheric array is intact. It would not have opened if the etheric array was not intact. I can feel the draw of energy. I can feel the magic here, but...
Maybe if the fight was over, they all left?
He turns and glances in your direction.
They were awake. They were waiting. They weren't supposed to leave.
I mean, I'm not supposed to be friends with liches. And yet here we are, so like... Just shrugs.
You would call me friend.
You haven't fucked up enough to not be called friend, so like, don't push your luck or anything, but...
Do you not follow the Matron of Ravens?
I do follow the Matron of Ravens, things that are a bit weird in Tikal.
I am quickly learning this. Thank you, I think.
Sure.
The Sentinels said these watchers, they were created for the explicit purpose of waiting for Wu Tao to return. In one form or another, we believed that Acererak's fell magic would revive the ancient guardian giant as one of his. They were never supposed to leave. The fight has not yet happened. Where and why? I do not understand.
He glances toward you, Roar.
At the very least, this place would be a safe haven for me.
When this, he gestures to his face, gestures to the blindfold.
When this wears off, I can return here. I could remain here. Though without the Faith Keepers, this Sentinel will never move.
But the Adanu will not decay while the Adanu is here?
Correct. This jungle is lush. From this point, I could gently pull from the magic Wu Tao had left behind. Perhaps preventing the ravenous jungle from becoming too dangerous.
Karn just nods solemnly.
If this is amenable.
I look at the alcoves that I can see.
How many Faith Keepers would you need to make this move?
It would depend on the Faith Keepers themselves. the most faithful and disciplined. I cannot. You see, he does some mental math, and he furrows his brows, and he really has to think about it. Truly outstanding souls with tremendous discipline. For simple movement, and perhaps as few as 5, 10, it would not be pretty. It would be stumbling, bumbling, perhaps even downright humorous. But it would move, perhaps.
Can I take a look and see if there are any remnants of anything like ash, robes, anything?
Yeah, sure. Take a look around. You can make an investigation check. You've got light, so it will not be at disadvantage. You take some time. You look around. You explore. 11. With your 11, you are searching for signs of the mummified remains, of the bandages, the robes, the scraps, the dust. Remnants of dead creatures like the last time. You do not find signs of decay. No bits and pieces of leathery skin. No signs of anyone having passed here. Nothing catches your eye. No evidence can be found of what may have happened, aside from the fact that if they left when they left, it may have been in a much better state than the poor souls left behind in the desert that you guys left behind. With that 11, you also find that behind the throne, there are no pedestals. In the room you left behind, there were 4 pedestals that had been scattered about. Here, there are none.
Yeah, that was the next question I was about to ask. So I will look over to Adanu.
There are no remnants. So this had to be completely abandoned by them. And the strange plinths. The where you had 2 flanking each side of your throne. There are no such plinths in here.
Peculiar. Those ornate things there, for lack of a less crude word, they're very fancy storage units. They held entombed items of ours. Supplies, devices, tools. Was this place looted? Or did they leave and take their things with them? He rubs under his nose. Uncertainty in his face.
From what I gather, no one in the commission has been in one of these things. They're aware of them, but they think they're just statues, maybe? It's complicated. But with the growth around this one, it would have been buried hundreds of years ago.
He inclines his head and nods. The jungle takes that which lays upon its floor more quickly than you might think. The fact that you have a city at all, a commission to return to, is somewhat interesting to me. I've been told there are a number of people I must meet. Erej, I believe, was mentioned, as was a few others. Perhaps this mystery is best left behind, and you can show me to someone who can help acclimate me to this strange new world.
Yes, Reginald Crosp. He is a good wizard. We'll have as many questions as I have, though I question whether it's a good idea for the Commission to know that these statues are functional.
He inclines his head. Would it be better to bring him to me?
Sorry, I lost in that. DM, could you repeat?
Would it be better to bring him to me?
Reg, leave the city, you'll probably break out into like 18 different types of foreign diseases and then die.
The jungle is dangerous.
I have ways of transporting my friends safely.
Also, I'd like to point out that he's as much a blackguard as you or I. He has been getting funds for the commissions to do his research, so anything he finds will be known by the commission anyway.
I give her a look, which is really hard to see because obviously
you haven't gotten the eyebrow upgrade.
I'll say,
I still am not a fan of that specific requirement.
Why?
Wizards don't like sharing their information.
On the contrary, I would love to make a school here. Should protect the knowledge of what Tekal was, is, and could be in the future. The lessons of Omu. A whole bunch of, saving lost magics that...
And I look over at Adanhu,
that we just realized we have connections to, even in part. There are things that, so many things that we could learn, and also so many different ways of ending if the wrong people decide that they want to investigate.
And then I will look over specifically Adelina.
For instance, we know where Omu is, and we also know that in our current state,
Kind of.
well, we have very good directions. I pointed at Adanu. Adanhu actually knows where it is, and based on the path that you, Karn, had in your vision, and what our friend had described to us, we could certainly get there. But if the commission tried, they would die.
So these ones tell them not to go?
You obviously haven't tried telling a researcher not to research.
This one is not used to dealing with others in general.
During this, Adanu is leaning and looking, quote unquote, between you as you speak. He eventually turns back to you, Roar. The unearthing and preservation of information is... Oh, am I not coming through?
You didn't come up from the
Yeah,
last
you were
part.
coming through, then you stopped.
Sorry. Okay. The act of unearthing and preserving information is a noble task. Tell me, is Adonai still worshipped in this time?
Of course.
Depends on where you are. I was in the Lyceum, but I know that I think people to the south in that area still followed parts of that pantheon, maybe. I'm not very religious.
He inclines his head a little bit, and you see a faintness of a smile touch his lips.
Adonai is still worshipped, yes.
If only by accident. If only by accident. You sound as though a staunch follower. I agree. Preservation of information is quite important. But I have seen the ambition of men. If you choose to conceal this, I will abide by that wish. I do not have the best of gestures to his face. Deflection. But I will try. Perhaps you will decide where and when I share this information, if at all, with this regiment of yours.
If we can find a way to take care of the machine, that would be a good time. Until I'm not very religious, but having as close to a near-death experience as a Warforged can have, and I look over at Karn, and having an emissary of the Raven Queen tell us point blank that we are nowhere near strong enough to go yet. It gives me pause.
You might find it difficult not to read Regin, considering that the Bones has been spending all night messaging him and sending him messages with the pen, telling him about Adanu and Hornwall and the Sentinel and everything else you have gone through, and the fact that she is now here and not in New Haven.
And you assume that all of this is going into papers that he is sharing openly.
If he wants to keep his funding, probably.
Perhaps that is something you should get in front of?
He kind of gestures toward the doorway where you guys had entered from.
Shall we ascend? This place is empty.
Yes.
Sure.
What is Adonai?
Easy.
Adonai.
Dragon.
So,
God.
as he leads you guys into the doorway where the platform rests and begins to cause it to elevate for the minute or so long trek upwards, Karn, there is a deluge of information as he explains the Celestial Dragons, the Celestial Seven. Adonai is the god of preservation. With great detail, he informs you, as though passionate on such a subject. As he gives you the rundown of what an Adonai is, and you guys start to see starlight again out of the Sentinel's mouth. You find that your allies have bedded down and prepared to sleep for the night. Bulk Up keeps watch, black eyes scanning the dark horizon. Hornwall appears to have found a place within Nbanje's zone of quietude. Bedrolls have been rolled out, and those with connections to one another seem to be bedding close by. We're going to call it here as you guys spend the night in the jungle next to this ancient functioning structure.
In the jungle. The mighty jungle?
The mighty jungle.
Where the panther sleeps tonight?
There is indeed a panther sleeping and some skeletons who don't sleep.
I was gonna say where the dinos sleep tonight, but
The dinos sleep tonight. There are dinosaurs out there, guys. And zombies. And giant crabs. There's all kinds of things in the jungle.
yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to get